I'm Misaki.
I'm Luo.
I'm Ashton.
I'm Doha.
And we will be presenting about jalapeno cheese bread and the HACCP plan to produce this product.
I will introduce the flow diagram to you. First, we will receive both wet and dry ingredients. The wet ingredients would include shredded cheese, shredded cheddar cheese, whey, cream, and jalapeno. And the dry ingredient would include sorbic acid, salt, lactic acid, and gum. The ingredient storage for the dairy products are 38 °F, which are the shredded cheese, whey, and cream. And for the other ingredients, the jalapeno, sorbic acid, gum, and lactic acid and salt, they will be stored at the room temperature. The next step will be blend and heat for dairy products to melt the cheese and blend everything together. And the next step will be addition of remaining ingredients, which includes the jalapeno, sorbic acid, lactic acid, salt, and gum. We will mix everything together and then we will pasteurize the product, which is our first CCP. At the meantime, we would receive our package, and before we use it, we will steam sterilize the packages to get rid of any spoilage pathogens and thus potentially increase the shelf life. Then we will package the products, and then we will use metal detector, which is our second CCP. The last step will be coat, case, palletize, and refrigerate the product. The product should be refrigerated under 38 °F.
So, as mentioned, our first CCP is pasteurization. The pathogen of concern is Listeria monocytogenes. Although Salmonella and Clostridium botulinum would also be pathogens present in this food, Listeria actually has the highest critical limit in terms of time and temperature combination. So by achieving 150 °F for 30 seconds, you would also be inactivating the Salmonella and CBOT. So as mentioned, the critical limit is 150 °F for 30 seconds. This is established for a spreadable cheese product. And for monitoring, first, what are we monitoring? One is temperature. So to make sure the temperature of the product achieves 150 °F. For number two, the 30 seconds, which is the time of the pasteurization. We also, how are we monitoring? With one, a temperature recording device. So this would be a thermocouple that can reach the middle of the vat, which would be the cold spot, and therefore the most likely to not achieve the 150 °F. And then number two, you are also using a timer to monitor the 30 seconds. Then the frequency of monitoring for temperature, you would do periodic recording of every batch and then visually check the record to make sure that the 150 °F was achieved. And then the same is for the 30 seconds, periodic recording of every batch and then visually checking the record. Then this visual check would be done by the pasteurizer operator.
I'm sick, so bear with my voice. Next, we need to do the corrective actions, and we need to segregate and hold product for repasteurization or divert to non-food use. We also need to adjust pasteurization temperature to achieve greater than 150 °F or adjust timer to achieve 30 seconds. Of course, we also need to clean and sanitize all equipment post-pasteurization. For the verification part, we need to do weekly record review of CCP monitoring and corrective action. We need to check the accuracy of temperature recording device against indicating thermometer daily. And we also need to calibrate thermometer with certified ones and sample for bacteria identification and test annually. For record keeping, we need to include pasteurization log, thermometer chart recorder, calibration log, and corrective action records.
And our second CCP is the metal detector, which is really important because we will be mixing all of our ingredients using a ribbon blender. And since a ribbon blender is metal on metal contact, there is a possibility that there can be metal fragments in our finished product, which is very bad. So we will be using a metal detector to detect if there is metal inclusion in our finished product. Our critical limit is that there is no detectable metal fragments in our finished product. What are we monitoring? The presence of metal fragments in our finished product. How? The metal detector. And how often we'll be doing this is we will be doing it for every finished product to make sure that all of our products are metal free. And we will be having an operational check at the beginning to make sure that our metal detector is fully functioning. And who is doing this? The metal detector operator. For corrective actions, if there are any products that are rejected by the metal detector, we will be destroying those products. And we will also need to identify the source of where the metal fragments came from and how it got into the finished product to begin with, and which is, we think it will be the ribbon blender, but if it is not, we will also check all of our other equipment, and we will be fixing those equipment so that this problem will not happen again. If the product is processed without the metal detector, then we will be holding it for metal detection. To verify that our metal detector is working properly, we will be testing it with 3 test units of metal to make sure that the metal detector can detect those metals. We will be reviewing, monitoring the corrective action and verification records within 1 week of preparation. And for record keeping, the metal detector operation log will be made. So yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you.